Coming up on this edition of Let's Talk, the financial physician, Lou Scatigna. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest today is heard nationally on XM satellite radio, Lou Scatigna, the financial physician, here to talk about wealth and how to create more. Thank you so much for joining us, Lou.
Great to be here, Gary.
Tell us about your history and how you got involved with wealth management.
Well, it's kind of weird because when I went to college for pre-med. I was going to be a dentist. And then I realized by my junior year, I didn't want to be a dentist. I didn't want to have my hands in people's mouths. So I graduated with a microbiology degree of all things. The only jobs available were basically doing blood tests on people. It's not something I wanted to do. A couple of years went by, I was just bouncing around, and then I saw an ad in the New York Times, college graduates, management trainee. I didn't even know what it was. Called up, it was a mutual fund company. I didn't know anything about mutual funds or stocks or bonds. But my girlfriend, now my wife, talked me into going, so I put on my old suit and jumped on a bus, went to the Port Authority in New York, walked in the bookstore there and took a financial dictionary and learned everything I could in an hour on mutual funds. Went to the interview. They liked me because I was so knowledgeable about mutual funds. And I started selling mutual funds for first investors, and that was in 1983. 1987, I met who's now my business partner at another firm, and we started AFM Investments. We opened up our firm the week before the stock market crashed.
Yeah, I was
in 1987.
I remember that, yes.
And it was a pretty scary time. I was 27, he was 27. We had no money. We borrowed it to open the firm. Market crashes, and I said, wow, we're going to go into a depression. Well, we didn't go into a depression. That was 23 years later that we'd go into a depression. So we've been an independent financial advisory firm for 23 years.
So you were at the first organization a stockbroker? Is that what you were then?
Yeah, I was an investment broker selling mutual funds, stocks, and bonds.
Gotcha. Okay, so you start the firm. Now your title of financial physician, how'd that come about?
Well, I was starting my new radio show on WOBM, AM 1160 here in New Jersey just about 10 years ago. And I had to think of a name for the show. And I was sitting in the gas station one day, and it just popped in my head, the financial physician, America's Money Doctor. And I started using it. It had kind of like a kitschy sound to it. And I also found in my practice that using medical analogies to finance, people got it quicker. You know, I say credit cards are like cancer to the financial body. I mean, people get that, you know, right there. So I've used it since. My book is titled The Financial Physician. My national radio show is titled The Financial Physician, and recently had it all trademarked. Interesting.
Now, do you deal with mostly younger families or elderly?
I actually deal mainly with seniors.
Okay.
I learned early in my career that the older people had all the money and the younger people had all the debt. And since we get paid as a percent of the assets we manage, go where the money is. So I've been an expert on senior financial issues for a long time. I like dealing with seniors. They come from a different time, and they're more diligent, they're more responsible, they're easier to deal with. So, and plus my radio show in New Jersey, that station is geared more towards an older clientele. And as you know, here in New Jersey, in Ocean County, we have 92 retirement communities. So I have a pretty large audience, and over the course of the last 10 years, a lot of them have become my clients.
When you look at a financial planner, I always like to look at how many letters are after their name. What credentials do you have with those letters?
Well, I have a whole chapter in my book about financial advisors and what to beware of. And some of them is these initials after people's names, because a lot of them are bogus, like senior, what is it called? Certified fund advisor. What is that? Sounds good, right? Well, someone takes a home study course, passes a test on mutual funds, and they could say, I'm a certified fund specialist or certified senior specialist. But the cream of the crop is certified financial planner, CFP. They're the most educated. They have to take continuing education, and they're pretty well rounded. They know about taxes, corporate benefits, insurance, investments, estate planning. So soup to nuts financial management. I've been a certified financial planner now since 22 years.
You were one of the first. You were one of the first ones to do that. Is that
correct?
correct?
I was not one of the first, but you know, compared to it was 20-something years ago, I was yes. I guess I was one of the first. But CFPs have been around probably about 10 years before I got involved.
Okay, great. Now, you can get financial advice from a lot of different people. We can go to our banker and get financial advice, our insurance agent. Why is it important for someone to work with someone who has some training like you do?
Well, because it's well-rounded. I mean, you want someone who knows what's going to happen to your tax return if you do something financially in your life. You want somebody you could talk to about, hey, I'm thinking about buying a car. What's the best way to finance it? How much house can I afford? How much do I have to put away on a monthly basis to acquire enough money for a college education for my kid or for a comfortable retirement for myself? So financial planning, most people do it hodgepodge. This one insurance guy is selling them insurance, the investment guy is touting a stock, and there's no cohesion to what they're doing. And with the certified financial planner, what we'll do is look at the entire picture and think about it from a long-term relationship. So with advisors, you got to be very careful. Most advisors are salespeople. They're selling investments. They say they're financial advisors, but they're stockbrokers or investment brokers or annuity salesmen. So you have to be careful when someone's recommending something to you that they're not just trying to sell you something to make a commission, and that they're looking at the big picture.
Right. Now, in your book, you talk about financial entitlement. What does that mean?
Well, material entitlement. The book is broken down into the 20 most common financial ailments, to use a medical analogy. And one of them is feelings of material entitlement. Americans believe we deserve to live rich, no matter how much money we have. I had a client a few years back, he's a sanitation man, his wife worked, and between them they made about $85,000 a year. They came to tell me that they were going to buy a house for $750,000. Now, I don't own a $750,000 house and I could afford it, but I looked at this guy and I said, how can you do this on $85,000? And he showed me this mortgage he was going to take out, this option arm mortgage where for the first few years he doesn't even pay the interest. He was paying less than that and the mortgage thing was growing. That's when I knew we were in trouble as a country, that we were going to go that way. But this person had the feeling of material entitlement, that he deserved to live in a McMansion. We deserve to have new cars every 3 years, right? We deserve a new computer, the iPod and everything else. And those feelings of material entitlement is why most Americans have no net worth and a lot of debt, because most of us can't afford to buy these things. Right. So what we do is we go into debt through credit cards or home equity loans or whatever to acquire those things that we feel we're entitled to. And we have to change that viewpoint because we're living in different times right now. If people think that we're going back to where we were the last 30 years, that this is just a recession and everything's going to be great, it's not the way it's going to be. It's going to be tough times for a long time, and we have to change the way we think about money, we think about spending, and we have to become much more responsive.
Lou, that's great. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to continue talking about this. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back right after this.